All right, y'all, we're back with another episode on the DM7. Today we're going to talk about like the onboard premium effects and how I like to use them. There's a bunch that I don't use, but I'm just going to talk about the ones that I do use and show you how to mount them and get them signal flowing in and out of them. So if we come here where we left off, we did effects, right? So we got all of our effects patched, and if you go to this rack, you'll see our effects here, and they're all patched where we want them to go. There's this other tab here called premium, and that's what we're going to work on today. Now, this is like some of their fancier plugins, you can say, and I like to use them in some scenarios. Here are the ones that I like to use. I'm going to load up a primary source enhancer here, and this will have, I can do two inputs on this using this. So I'm going to do it for my lead vocals and for the pastor mic. So really, I just need to load up two of these. So there we go. And then I can patch them in right here on this insert channel, and I'm going to go to mic 2. I'm going to put it on the first input because what this is like a gate, and this really helps. It's with if you're struggling with feedback issues. So this is really, really good. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to do mic 3, and I'm going to do mic 4. And then I'm going to do pastor's mic, which is 8 in our scenario here. Boom. I've got all those patched. Now you can see I don't have all the DSP in the world, so I have to be strategic with how I use this. We're at 4 out of 64. I should have plenty of room for what I want to do, but I just want to make sure you know I can't just put this on every mic. That's why I'm not putting it on every mic. Let's see here. Another one that I like to do is compression. I like better compressors. Let's say this one is going to be for my snare, I need this one to be dual as well. That's a good catch here. I don't want these stereo. I want them dual. That's how I'm going to use multiple. Okay, on this one, same thing. I can do dual here. I just need it for my top snare. And then this one is going to be for my bass. Cool. And then I really like a, let's see, we have this open deck. That's fun. I like this for my bass and my snare, so I'm going to do it again. Looks like, see, that's where we're running out of space. You see how it's grayed out? That's how I know we're running out of space. I'm going to come over here, open deck. Cool. Let's go and start patching. So this is going to be my snare top here. Snare top. We'll put it first. And then this one is going to be for my bass DI. This one's going to be for my snare. I want this to be B. Yes. And then this is going to be for my bass, B. So why does A or B matter on this? So that is, I'll show you what it looks like here. So when we're patching these in here, let's say we put that primary source enhancer on here, you'll see that on this up here, these blanks right here. And usually this is defaulted as off. So I can expand this here. Clicking on it. I want to make sure it's on. I'm not going to be passing signal unless that's on. And then this is just a signal chain here. Like this is my signal path going from A to B. Now, if these are blank, it's just going to go on into the channel. But I have something loaded up here, so this is where I'd adjust the settings. And I want to make sure I turn it on. And then on our home screen, you'll see that it says on next to it. Now, in this as well, I can select where this goes. So do I want this to happen before my dynamic 1? So this is the signal chain here. Dynamic 1, EQ, dynamic 2, this. Well, in this case, this is happening before dynamic 1. I can choose it to be even before my filter, and I can be before my fader. So I'm going to go before my dynamic 1 on this case here. Now, when I get to my snare drum, that'll be different. So let's go look at my snare drum here. That's going to be over here on my snare. I'm going to turn it on, and I want this to be after my EQ and everything else like that. So I'm going to put it before my fader. And then this is just a 1176 compressor, which is awesome. And I'm just going to kind of get like a general attack setting. And then on this here, this is just tape saturation. And what's great is this can just like really help start rounding off my transients. So, yeah, and this is like the high frequency adjust. I can add more low end or more top end, but it's really great. Reproduce is the volume coming out. Record is how much volume's going in. So my meters right here, I'll be hitting them. I don't want auto makeup on. You can leave it on, but I like to adjust it myself. And then there's a couple different options here. Go through and see which ones sound the best, but this is cool. Now I can also patch right here, but it doesn't, it's kind of more confusing right here. So, because then I have to like find something to patch and it's just weird. So I like to do it from here. So I'm going to go back to my rack. Let's say I want to put a nice EQ. So we're out of room on that. Let's put a nice EQ. I'm going to do a dual EQ here, and I'm going to put this on my snare as well. This is going to be C. Now let's go check that out. So here now I've got some nice low end. This is a Pultec EQ, which is awesome, and I can just add that in to help give me some more thud. And if I want some more top end sizzle, I can just add that here as well. Sometimes this 5K right here is good, and just blend it into taste. And now what's happening is after I EQ my snare, so my snare EQ will probably look something like this, and maybe a little bump. I like this to be a bell, and maybe at the 180-ish area. Boom. And then maybe a little sizzle on the 5K. Again, this is just starting places. This will adjust based on what my snare is sounding like. All that's going to happen, and then this is going to happen. Now, they do have compressors here, and they've got a bunch of good compressors. These sound better. Obviously, they're using processing power, and I like the way this sounds much better than the other one. So I like an 1176. That's what I'm going to put there. Now we got to go to my bass. I've got this patched in. Remember, I got to turn it on. And an 1176 is much easier. Usually this ratio knob isn't on 1176, so I don't know what they're doing here, but I'm going to leave it on the default here, and then I'm just going to change my peak reduction. As far as bass goes, I definitely like being from 3 to 5. That's my target area right here, is 3 to 5 dB of compression. And I just do that by doing this peak reduction, and then my gain is gain out. So then, you know, I can add a little bit more gain here. And then same thing, this is just saturation. This is giving me a little more like buzz, some special stuff on the bass to help it poke out a little bit, because especially in the live scenario, my bass is a lot of sub, and this helps me give me a little more poke in the upper end. And again, I want this to be happening after my EQ, so I'm going to put it pre-fader here, and then my EQ, you know, this I can bump up, let's say down here, and then, you know, pull out a little at the 120 area. Generally a decent start here. Sure. And then I'm going to tighten that Q up. More like that. Yeah, cool. And then I can bring out the special stuff, maybe around 700. Sure. Start there. And then I'm going into that. And then I can let's put another Pultec on here, because that's great for low end. And I've got room. So let's do it. Bass DI, we're going C. Boom. Then I'll exit out of here, and then I can really crank some low end here. Let's go 30, and we're going to boost the snot out of it. Cool. Now I've got a lot more sub going on. Those are kind of my general use cases of these. As far as these particos go, I like, you know, my depth maybe -10, sure, and then the threshold you're just going to set until, so that every time that they're talking, that it opens up. And then when they're not talking, it closes, and you'll see that with this process active. And then these time constants, C is great. If you can hear the difference in these, good for you. That's great, but the default's fine. And this just really helps. It's a really transparent gate. This is like one of the best plugins that they have. It's by Rupert Neve. It's amazing. The other thing I like on my Pastor mic, so let's go check out our Pastor mic here. So that's going to be mic 8. It's a headset. So that's what's really, headsets are really hard, because usually they're just prone to feedback. You want them louder and you want way more low end. You usually have to gut these a lot. So what I like to do is, with my virtual sound check, I will just make his voice sound good, like, and natural with this. And that's usually going to look something like this. Maybe something at like 1.8 or something. This is usually a good starting place. And I'm not doing any feedback cuts here. I'm just getting a nice natural sounding vocal. And then I'll this primary source enhancer, I got to turn it on. And I want this to be before everything. So pre-dynamic 1 is great because I want it to be closing before it gets to any of the EQ. And then this gate here, what's great about this is you can use this de-esser right here. I will give you a heads up. I don't like the sound of this de-esser. It doesn't work for me. I can't get it to do what I want it to do. So I just do this legacy comp. And what's nice is I can do a bandpass filter right here, and I can put it kind of tight and up here in, you know, the 6K area. And what that's doing is it's telling the compressor to only look at the 6K area and only react to that, which is where a lot of S's happen. So I can turn this on right here, Dynamics 1, and then I can make it a super quick attack, super quick release, and soft knee is great because that'll help it be more transparent, and just pull this down. And this way, and then just pull it down to where it's just reacting to his S's. And then I've just made a de-esser. And to me, this sounds a lot more natural than the de-esser they have on board. And then the other one that I like to throw on here is this compressor by the Portico as well, dual, this guy right here. And we'll patch that into our mic 8. Needs to be on B, I think. Boom. And ratio. Yeah, this 4:1 is always a great start. 4:1, my attack, I want to be maybe 10 milliseconds. 20 is as fast as it'll go, so that's cool. 100 is as fast as it'll go, that's cool. And then we just adjust this. And this gain reduction, I don't want more than 4. You can really hit this thing, and you can't really, it's pretty transparent, which is fine, but I like around 4. No more than 4, 2 to 4. And then, cool. And then the other thing I like on my Pastor mic is one of these is, I think it was a dynamic EQ. Yes, this guy here. And now this is sometimes based on where they're speaking in their range. I just want to pull out maybe some more low end when he's lower, and then as he starts speaking higher, it gets a little bright. So these are great because I can set another de-esser here. So wherever his S's are the worst, you know, around 6K here, boom, good. I can change my Q and then my cut boost, yeah, sure, and then my threshold. Then I'll set these all the way up so they're not reacting at all, and then when they're going, I'll just slowly bring it down until I'm just getting a little bit where I want it. So some good stuff for this here is maybe 3K here too. This is like a harsh frequency, so 3 to 5, when he starts getting harsh or yelling or something, it'll only kick in and pull out that part of it. Now this one I do like to be pretty wide. And then same thing, I'll bring this all the way up, maybe put these on auto. This one, let's do this, that's what I'm looking for. And this will be for when he's just a little low and I need it to pull some of that out. So here, and I'll leave all these up, and then I'll just slowly pull them into where they're just reacting where I want them to react. And this way it's not, I don't ever have to gut his vocal, and it's just a little more dynamic with how the pastor is speaking, you know, and it's a great way. So let's take a look at my signal chain here. So on mic 8, I'm going it from this primary source enhancer into my first step of compression. So on this compressor here, I want the attack all the way fast, because my first compressor, I want it to be reacting, getting my peaks out of the way. So that's why I don't want it to go above 4. I'm not trying to bury this compressor. I'll do that on a different compressor. I like serial compression. I don't want this doing all the legwork. So I'm going to just kind of start shaving off the tops of the gain here, and then that's going to be feeding this stage of EQ, and then we're going into our de-esser, and then we're going into our shaping EQ, and then now again, I like this legacy comp. It's just nice and transparent. And I'll go for, let's try 6:1, sure. And this one, I will be much more, let's go 50 milliseconds. Or 30 milliseconds. I'm going to be much more open with this. I still want a fast release. And then I'll just bring this threshold down. And then we're getting a few more dB of compression there. And that should be pretty good. Now, question is, well, what the heck? How do we get our EQ cuts for feedback? So another great thing here is we still have a space. And I'll go here. Let's just put go back to our rack here. So that's what this EQ is here. So what I can do is I can patch in another EQ here. We're going to insert this on channel, and we're looking for mic 8. And we're going to go D. Mic 8, D. And now, look at all these bands I have for frequency cuts. And this is just a much easier way. So this way I know the mix of his vocal is good, and then I can handle my EQ cuts here. And then I can adjust this once all of the gutting takes place. I can adjust the parameters on my EQ to maybe I don't need, I'm already gutting this in my EQ or whatever, so I'll probably start with this off, and then I'll go through and I'll ring out the mic with this right here, and it's just much easier. And this way I'm not looking at it, and if there's something I'm hearing that doesn't have to do with feedback, I'll just go and I'll deal with it here. And then if I'm searching for a feedback here, I can use this. The other one I can use is we've got these as well, and sometimes these are a lot better for that as well. So it just kind of depends on what you like to look at and what you want to do. But like I said, I kind of start here, and yeah, that's great. I also, on this rack, I can put these, because for us particular, we have a decent amount of problems with feedback. So I can put these on my my singing mics as well here. So I'll put this on my vocal mic. I think I need to do the second patch, and then same thing with this, the second patch for mic 3 and mic 4. Cool. Now when we go back to this, we exit out of this, mic 2, now we're going from our primary source enhancer into our feedback cuts here, and we're good to go. And we still have plenty of room. Like, there's still room for stuff here, and because we have all of this left, now we're out of room on this guy. We still have 2 more, so I can put some LA2As on there if I want it, on my vocals if I wanted. I can compress some more drums, but that's kind of where I'm at, is with that. Maybe I haven't even tried these reverbs, and maybe these reverbs are cool, but like I said, I like to use waves for my reverbs, so that's kind of happening off the system anyways. But I'm sure all of these sound great, and there's definitely instance room for me to use some of this. So yeah, check it out, try it out, and let me know how you use your premium effects in the comments below. Thanks. We'll see you soon.